Greetings and salutations, fellow Bruce's Campbell. It is I, Eric J. Chucky, joined as always by Bruce Campbell.
Hey!
The boy, of course. This is the True Nerds Podcast. Today we're talking about Doctor Strange and the mountains of complaints. Multiverse of Madness. Sorry, I got confused for that old H.P. Lovecraft story. But before we get into that, I interrupted you. I'm sorry. What were you going to say?
I was going to make a funny joke. Go ahead.
Okay. Should we do the Excalibur Taz bit?
No,
I apologize for interrupting you while you were talking.
It's all right. Go ahead.
Okay, all right. There's a little ticker at the bottom of the screen. I, in fact, made it slightly larger. Everything it tells you to do there, do it. I've got books. I've got links. There's a link tree in the description. All the links in one nice, easy-to-see place. But most importantly, we need to shout out the people who are cool. It's not the most fancy title in the world, but like, have you ever felt down on yourself? We think you're cool if you give us at least $1 a month. You could be cool like Rob, a guy from Ohio, Jesse Weock, and Passion Killer 711.
So let's talk about Doctor Strange.
Let's talk about Doctor Strange. I'm really sad we didn't get your joke.
It's okay.
All right. I guess I'm going to have to live with never knowing.
What could have been?
If I give you $1, will you tell me after
There's
the
an
podcast?
alternate universe where I told the joke.
Fuck. Maybe I'll dream about it later. Wow.
So, it's no secret to the folks who listen to the podcast that White was not the most humongous fan of the first Doctor Strange movie. Whereas I actually liked the first Doctor Strange movie quite a bit.
On rewatch, I cooled off a bit, but
So did I.
It does have a different vibe. And it's still one of my least favorite Marvel films.
It's still a Marvel film I like a lot, but I also cooled off the other way on rewatch and... but just so you know where we are going into this. I went in with sort of more positive feelings towards this part of the franchise, as it were. You went in with more negatives, and we came out the same place. So,
yeah.
Even though, like, accounting for bias a little there, we both sort of agree on this one.
There are two things. One was a summary I said basically just after the film was done when we were first talking about it. And the other was a review of the film that was given to us by some friends of ours who had seen it before us. The review they gave us is, it's a Sam Raimi movie.
And it is that first. It is a Sam Raimi movie before it is anything else.
And you know what? I think it was a pretty good Sam Raimi movie.
Oh yeah, like, he's not a bad filmmaker. But if you don't like his movies, you will not like this movie.
The other thing is, as I said, this sure is an event comic.
And that is the absolute nail on the head. It is, with all the good, because there's a lot of good there, and all the bad that implies. All the good things that event comics have and do, and all the bad things that event comics have and do, Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness has in spades.
I struggle to approach this ball of wax, and we're probably going to get spoilery, although... I don't know, man. I guess there are.
I think we can do a spoiler-free version, or at least I can. If you have enjoyed this most recent part of the MCU, if you like Loki and like the new Spider-Man movie and all of the various things that are sort of hinting towards utilizing the multiverse and that being the next big thing in the MCU, go into this movie with your heart open, and you'll have a good time. Not a great time, but a good time.
I would say this film was in a similar ballpark with the last couple non-Sony MCU films. That is to say, Eternals and Black Widow.
Yeah.
I don't even know if it was as good as Shang-Chi. I really like Shang-Chi.
I think it wasn't as good as Shang-Chi. But it's about Black Widow, for me it's a little better than the Eternals. I like the Eternals a little less than you. But about Black Widow, and I didn't dislike Black Widow at all. This is a perfectly serviceable Marvel movie.
I liked Black Widow less than you, ironically. That's why I say it's in the ballpark. Like, it's fine.
It's a perfectly serviceable, to use a sports ball metaphor, it's a two-base hit. Like, it's a perfectly serviceable, day at the office. Nobody shat the bed. This is a perfectly fine match. But it's not gonna go on the fucking. It's not gonna hit any best of lists. At least for us.
I'm in no hurry to rewatch this.
Certainly not. I think that's about it for spoiler free.
Yeah, it's hard to talk about this movie without getting into the territory of something you would call a spoiler. So, if you haven't seen Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, click that like button, subscribe to the channel, give me your Patreon money, and thanks for your support. We'll see you next week.
Add this to your watch later, come back after. You'll probably agree with us. I'm pretty confident on this one.
And that's what I do with a lot of things. It's like, oh yeah, I would love to find out your opinions on this game, show, whatever, but not now. I watched it.
Normally I try and hedge this is my opinion, blah, 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 No, I'm pretty confident on this one. This one's pretty middle of the road. I would be surprised if this was anyone's favorite MCU movie. I'll put it
unless you're just a huge classic horror freak.
Yeah, if you don't really care, that's
finally a Marvel movie for me.
Yeah, if you don't like the MCU, but you love Evil Dead, okay, this could be your MCU movie.
Or even Dario Argento stuff, really stylistic horror from the 70s, 80s, early 90s maybe. But that kind of thing, this movie has a lot of that.
So yeah, spoilers?
Yeah, spoilers.
As he said, this is at least partially a horror movie, which is, the parts of it that are a horror movie are fun to watch. But you're right, it's hard to approach. It's hard to get at the angle to talk about this film. Without just reading the plot.
May I make an attempt?
Go for it.
Okay. I think my chief problem with this movie, all the other nitpicks, because we nitpick like experts here, but all the other nitpicks aside, my chief problem with this film is I accidentally fantasy booked. I always say this. I try so hard not to do it. It's why I try not to watch trailers. But because of what I was told this movie was going to be, which is, this series definitely leads into Doctor Strange. This series probably leads into Doctor Strange. And I'm talking about from Marvel. Now they changed their minds on some stuff later. Maybe I didn't get the patch notes, but it is what it is. I was expecting, and from the trailers, I was expecting something different. I thought that, I expected Wanda to be the bad guy or a bad guy, but I was expecting another Wanda to be helping Doctor Strange, because they CGI'd some clips to look like that. And I didn't see them just slam dunking her storyline like that, a buzzer beater to end the game. I was expecting maybe Doctor Strange has to fight the Illuminati as a threat from another world to keep, his world safe, and not Doctor Strange visits the Illuminati in an extended Family Guy gag.
I didn't have many expectations for this movie beyond it leading in from WandaVision, and it did that.
But I was just expecting a better Marvel movie from this film, something along the caliber of an Avengers movie, because clearly they're trying to cross over a lot of concepts here. But ultimately,
this is a Doctor Strange. Well, actually, this is at least partially an America Chavez movie. Doctor Strange is the co-lead, but she doesn't have the pedigree to be fucking headlining a movie.
Well, and with all fairness, America is the golden child at best. She's a MacGuffin. A living MacGuffin with feelings and thoughts, and I thought she was portrayed very well, but...
to put it like this, when the story revolves around a character, and that character is ultimately the one who beats the bad guy, it is kind of their movie,
sure,
isn't it?
Sure. Well, and that's a criticism one can lay as well, because I lay that criticism on basically everyone but Wanda, and you could argue Doctor Strange himself. This is a movie full of very two-dimensional characters.
And there's a reason for that. No character beyond Stephen Strange, Wanda, and to a lesser extent America, because, she's just newer, so there's not development there, it's establishment.
Right.
Gets much time, gets much room to breathe. Now, Wanda and Stephen both get lots of room. They get miles of road to have character development, and they both do a pretty good job.
And I think a lot of the things you can celebrate that are down to the actors' performances.
Yeah, as with most MCU movies, it's not like the actors are doing a bad job. Everyone's doing a good job with the material they're being given.
I really loved that Elizabeth Olsen, every time Wanda was in control, like the evil Wanda, had that super slight accent. The one she worked so hard to kill in her perfect world in WandaVision. I really like that as a super tiny touch.
And it is such a small touch because it comes through not just when she's, the Scarlet Witch, but like it is clear it really makes it clear from the WandaVision joke of that accent really comes and goes, doesn't it? It makes it clear that it's something that happens when she's pissed. Because what she's doing is she's affecting an American accent to fit in. But when she's pissed, that falls away, and the Sokovian starts to come out.
But I like that it's not blatant. I like that it's still, she's not quite in control. And
yeah,
I
and
really
she's a
like
little
that.
off on the edges, which fits with the character's portrayal. But that is a criticism I would lay at the movie, personally, is that if the movie is called Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, and he's neither the central focal point of the conflict nor the ultimate person who resolves the conflict, he's kind of like a tour guide.
A little bit, and at the same time, he is definitely not the tour guide. He's a tour guide who knows nothing.
He's literally being taken on a tour by another character. Now, to be clear, biases on the table, I don't like America Chavez in the comics fucking at all. I find her insufferable.
I love her potential as a character, and that's part of why I was pretty happy with this, even though it's sort of a soft pitch for the character, and I am looking forward to the Marvels even more now.
Yeah, I really like this version. I think this was a great job. This is a great example of adaptation distillation. That thing I've mentioned so many times that I love. They took a character I do not like, and they made them someone I liked watching and want to see more from.
Without bending that character's actual moral...
Yeah, they kept the basis there. They kept the chassis, but they made them likable.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, another example I could think of is Iron Man.
Sure, yeah, absolutely.
I did not like Tony Stark in the comics, and to be clear, still basically don't. The first Iron Man movie took that chassis and made someone I liked watching.
Yeah.
It's about that level of shift for me.
Yes.
And it's very impressive. It's just, this is supposed to be a Doctor Strange movie, and as much as I like this character, this was supposed to be a Doctor Strange movie.
I mean, people lay that complaint at Civil War, and I feel like Civil War was more of a Captain America movie.
Civil War was very much
a Doctor Strange.
Because he's the central part of he's the central driver of, the emotional through line of the movie, and he's the one who ultimately resolves the conflict.
Their attempts at making Doctor Strange have more of a presence in this film are, and I'm sure this isn't the way it was done, I'm talking about the way it was pulled off. There is a stapled on love story thing with Christine all over again.
I am glad, this is a spoiler for the very, very tail end, in fact, the mid-credits scene. I am glad that Clea has shown up at this point, because I am growing very tired of the MCU multiverse of Doctor Stranges, because apparently they're all like this, being humongous simps for this literally Who original character.
I wouldn't even care if A, they hadn't basically resolved that at the end of his first movie, and B, he hasn't fucking talked about her in all the movies he's been in since.
But, like, even in What If, it's the same way. Like, the bad guy Doctor Strange in What If, he destroys a whole universe trying to save Christine. It's this ridiculous, over-the-top obsession with this one person, which just doesn't fit Doctor Strange as a character.
It doesn't.
It makes him seem like a weirdo.
And he is a little eccentric and a bit irresponsible, but he's wizard irresponsible. He's also a fucking adult, and they constantly and consistently portray him as the fucking adult of the Avengers.
Yeah, he's got big dad energy. He was Spider Dad, and now he's America Dad. And, like...
But not American Dad. That's a different guy.
No. Although there was that extended Family Guy gag, so maybe.
Maybe.
But he doesn't... He has this big adult, like, functional adult, somewhat irresponsible, bit of a rake sort of vibe to him.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it.
Except for how he acts like a 16-year-old who's never touched a boob before about this one woman. And it's not like they're adapting something from the comics, like this is his great love, who he has so many stories about. No, this is a new lady. She's a fine lady. Rachel McAdams is a good actress.
One of my favorite actresses, actually.
She does a great job.
Yeah.
She does a great job in this movie. But can we please be done?
yeah, this is not what I wanted from Stephen Strange at this stage. And
Clea is here now. Go be happily married, like most of the versions of you that I like. And just please get back to being a cool wizard, because I don't need this. This is unnecessary cruft in your storyline.
And I think that's something we can bridge into. If you are going to see Doctor Strange to watch a cool wizard do cool wizard shit,
you will get that.
You're in luck.
Like, for all the complaints you had about the first movie being basically the same strings and mandalas fighting each other, and it's not an unfair criticism, plus some Inception, this movie's a bunch of fucking wizard fights.
Oh yeah, very cool, very creative.
Very stylistic, very amazing, very, like, interesting to look at, and no two wizard fights in this movie are like are the same. Or even, honestly, all that similar.
Wong has a specific way he fights, but that feels like he is Wong, this is how Wong fights, not,
Well, I mean, he fights like all the rest of the Masters of the Mystic Arts. Except Stephen Strange, who is the wizard Chad.
Right. And that's Doctor Strange. From the comics, from the video games, from anything, he's always going, I don't know, fucking Wanda Watum. Let's try...
I'm going to make a big wind column. I'm going to get giant hands and rip a light pole out. I'm going to shoot green fire. Guess I can do that now. I'm a wizard. I do what I want. I ain't got to explain shit. I want that. And they gave me a lot of that. And that's one of the things I really like about this movie, is they gave me a lot of really cool wizard fights.
And I honestly am not sure that anyone... Very few people outside of Sam Raimi would have given us that.
Yeah, that's one of the things you get. That's one of the good things about this event comic, is that you get to see a lot of really cool shit. There's a part where they're fighting with wizard music magic.
And it matches the score. And
it's great. It's great. They didn't need to do that. That wasn't required. They did it anyway, and I love that.
I think the biggest negative for the Sam Raimi directing, and as I understand, while there was a different writer, they sort of wrote and filmed the movie at the same time.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of it didn't come together until later.
One of the jokes they like to make is the only thing that didn't change at some point in the filming of Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness was the name Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. Every other part of this movie changed at some point in production.
Yeah. But the problem I have with that is that the writing does feel weak, schlocky. I would even go so far as to say there's not a twist that happens that I didn't call.
And not always in a good way.
Yeah.
There are twists that happen in this movie that are both predictable and very frustrating.
Man, I didn't mean to give you the alley-oop on that one. Lots of sports metaphors in this one, but please, go ahead.
So, there's a couple different things I could decide to talk about here. I'm going to pick the very last scene of the main movie, because it honestly almost took the whole movie down a letter grade for me, because it's so predictable and so schlocky and so annoying, because it's like Sam Raimi's finishing move. Is he has a whole movie where everything and then the conflict is resolved. Everyone seems like they got everything didn't all go well, but we're past it now and we're going forward with positive vibes. Haha, no, you get the bad ending, lol. I'm Sam Raimi.
That's a horror trope in general.
And this isn't a fucking horror movie, Samuel.
I mean, it is, but it isn't. Like, we do need to move forward. I don't know that we need that stinger. I wasn't as upset about it as you were, but
it's a very pointless little knife stab on a movie I already had issues with. And I saw it coming from like a mile away, because Sam Raimi's the director, and you can feel his hand on the wheel so hard through the whole movie. I could never forget that. So I went, he's going to do the last minute thing where there's a haha bad ending. He's going to do it. He's leading up to it now. Now there it is. And I was big mad for like 5 minutes about it.
For 5 minutes, because they seemed to like just roll with it after that.
Yeah, like the mid-credit scene, they undid it. I feel like that was a studio note, if I'm being perfectly honest. And good note. A+ note.
But otherwise, it's very by the numbers, and not by the numbers superhero film necessarily. Although there is a little bit of that. When our friends said it's going to be a Sam Raimi movie, I was really expecting Spider-Man,
not The Evil Dead.
Not The Evil Dead, or perhaps more accurately, as I said at the time, Drag Me to Hell. There's a lot of the frenetic, stylistic sort of shit that you got from Drag Me to Hell. That Evil Dead was, made too early in the man's career to actually come out on. There were no Harryhausens. So, it wasn't that Evil Dead. There was, I don't think his brother was there.
Was there an evil tree at some point?
I don't know if there was any... Well, the trees had died.
Yeah.
But they didn't rape anybody.
Well, that's good.
Yes.
That's a little dark for a Marvel movie.
A little bit. Speaking of dark for a Marvel movie, let's talk about the Illuminati.
Oh, you mean the dumb asshole universe?
Well, I said what I said.
I mean, in a way, that's really good adaptation. That the universe run by the Illuminati is full of brain-dead moron assholes.
That was one of the biggest things making me nervous about going into this movie, was the Illuminati. Because I hate them in comics.
Yeah, they're brain-dead assholes who are amazingly arrogant and never make the right call.
But are often portrayed as heroes.
Yeah, and, anti-heroes. But... in this movie, it's a very faithful adaptation in that the people in the Illuminati are arrogant dickhead assholes who couldn't listen to a good idea if it shot them in the face, or I don't know, turned them into spaghetti and blew their head up with chaos magic.
That felt the most event comic-y to me, was, okay, here's your teaser trailer, here's your quiet leaks, here are these characters you would love to see in a Marvel movie. Oh my god, we killed them, oh no. And, they had a good fight. Yeah, overall, it was pretty fun.
But they didn't have a good fight, though.
Well, I mean, a visually interesting fight, I should say.
Half of them did.
Sure. But even then, I mean, it was, 20 minutes tops they were in the film?
Maximum, and they were insufferable for all 20 minutes of it.
I mean, yeah, kinda.
That's why that's one of the reasons one of the things I like least about this movie is you gave me something I've wanted in the MCU basically since the MCU started, and then you made me hate it. I'm pretty upset about that.
Yeah, I can't blame you for that. It's just so unnecessary as well. It sort of feels like a gotcha, haha, they weren't really in the movie. No, okay.
You gave me, we're spoilers free, yeah?
Yeah, we're in the spoiler zone.
You gave me Professor X in the big fucking yellow chair, and it's Patrick Stewart, and they play the fucking 90s theme music. And he, to be fair, is the sanest one of them all, and tries to help. A+, good job. He gets murked by fucking horror movie Scarlet Witch. Fine, she's killing them all, whatever.
I mean, she's, the power level thing is a bit stark, but this is ultimate, not ultimates, but this is final form Scarlet Witch.
This is M-Day level Scarlet Witch. This is full reality warping, I do what I want, I don't have to explain shit, Scarlet Witch. And, I mean, in that way, it makes sense that they had to take her out at the end of the movie, because you can't have a conflict with that.
No, she's too strong. If she bodied somebody who is Captain Marvel, who was treated by the studio and the fans as, all right, we're playing on a different fucking level now, then, yeah, they need to go.
She did. She pretty casually fucking bodied Captain Marvel.
Basically cooked her by her own sun rays and then crushed her with a statue.
Yep.
Although, as we have learned, Patton Oswalt may yet bring her back.
He is the Scarlet Witch of our universe.
No body, no death.
But then you gave me Black Bolt finally in the MCU proper, not in a TV show that's bombing.
Same actor too.
Yeah, that's cool,
isn't it?
And he has the outfit and he's got the powers and he's super cool and he's fucking Black Bolt. And then you have him go out comedically. You have him killed in a comedic, sad fashion. He doesn't even get a fight scene.
That's some 70s body horror, though. I don't know if I'd go so far as a comedy. If you found it funny, I respect that. His face kind of looked like a nutsack. That was the funny part of it. But, that's some classic Jack Kirby, oh shit. When Thanos turned Batista into squares or whatever. I get that. That's all right. And also, it's Black Bolt. He only has one button, and if it works, it works.
Yeah, and you pointed that out after the movie, and you're absolutely right. They couldn't let Black Bolt fight Scarlet Witch because it doesn't really matter how powerful you are if your atoms are far apart from each other.
I really actually liked what they did with him, and I would hope to see an existence of a Black Bolt in other Marvel properties, because up until the fight, they treated him with a lot of respect. I love the way he killed their universes strange with the I'm sorry. That was so in character. It was so well done, and the effect looked really good. That's the weird thing, is they actually did a pretty good job with these characters until they killed them.
Until they had Scarlet Witch do a fucking Freddy Krueger line and then he blows up his own head. Like, it's nice and respectful until it's not.
Basically, I agree with that entirely.
And then you did the thing. You brought in Reed fucking Richards. You gave me the Baxter Building and the Fantastic Four, and then you had him die like an absolute fucking clown. And look, I recognize this is the dumb asshole universe version, and there's the multiverse, and we'll see another one, bloody fucking blah. You didn't have to fucking do that. That wasn't necessary.
I would have liked to have seen... Well, okay, so this is something that bears mentioning. I often, before we record these podcasts, go and look at all the trivia, so that I have, some background stuff. And I like to go into some of their production shit. I'm by no means, comprehensive, but there's 40 minutes of cut footage from the final cut.
I'd be interested to see what's in that.
I'm curious to know what's in there as well. Is it more background stuff? Because I was just about to say, I wish they had done more with Reed. And I don't like the Fantastic Four, but I wish they had done more with him being Gadget Man, being Science Man.
Like, look, Captain Carter and alternate Captain Marvel, no complaints.
I really like
they got fucking murked, but they went out respectfully.
Yeah.
They went out like warriors. And you put a little respect on their name. Yeah, they're going to lose. Scarlet Witch is the bad guy of the movie, and this isn't a Reed Richards film. He's going to get killed. I'm fine with that. But add 2 minutes onto that fight scene and have Wanda kill all of them with a little back and forth. Come on, man. This isn't... You didn't need to squash match the leader of the Fantastic Four. That wasn't necessary.
Again, Black Bolt, probably yes.
Yeah, that's fair. Black Bolt, if he gets to say words, you lose now. And that's fair. It's one of the reasons Black Bolt is the jobber of the Marvel Universe, is that if he gets to use his one big button, it is a big red fucking nuclear button, and he wins. So he ends up losing a lot. He's got a very Worf vibe to him in a lot of conflicts, because of that. And again, bias on the table. This is because I like the Fantastic Four a lot, and you did my boy dirty. I'm gonna keep it real with you, Chief. That is a part of it.
Now, I will say, I think the Office Man did a good job. I've got their names here, but unlike the rest of them, he's not in a full list. He's buried in a paragraph. John
Krasinski, I believe.
Thank you, yeah. He did a good job. I think he was a good read. He's probably the best one I've seen, and I've only seen the others in commercials, but still.
Yeah, I mean, he did a good job. For the material he had, he did it well. Haley Atwell did great as Captain Carter. I liked that part of What If a lot. I'm glad that she showed up. She had the jetpack. That was cool.
And the Maria Rambeau Captain Marvel was a really cool way to go.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
Just, more alternate universe stuff. That's fun.
And everyone deserves praise. I don't think there was a bad actor in this film. Honestly, there were some parts of Doctor Strange that I had that was the tick you went with. Not that they were bad, just that they were weird.
They were a choice.
They were a choice, yes. Okay. Bruce Campbell, of course, phenomenal as beloved Marvel character Pizza Papa.
Look, when you put Sam Raimi in the director's chair, Bruce Campbell comes. You get a free Bruce Campbell. Well, not free. You do have to pay him, but he comes. They're like a package deal.
Yeah, I'm really surprised his brother wasn't there. Like, thunderously, even as like a cameo.
I mean, yeah, maybe he could only get one of the two, and he went with Papa Bruce.
Yeah.
Pizza Papa Bruce.
Pizza Papa Bruce.
Pizza Papa always gets his money.
And we had actually speculated that, like, you know, as much as the Illuminati is... I don't believe this is actually what happened, but they're in the same universe as Pizza Papa. A man who is going to fight this dude on the street over what couldn't have been more than $6.
With mustard.
With mustard and fisticuffs. And, like, that's a really stupid fucking decision. There's a memory viewing station where you can step on and you can see memories from your past that are viewable to the entire public. That's a stupid fucking decision.
So it's possible that this the Doctor Strange of that universe accidentally the whole universe or two, killing trillions. He out-murdered Thanos on accidental. That's a stupid decision. This might actually have been the dumb asshole universe.
The entire Illuminati is like, oh, a Doctor Strange is here. We have to kill him because that one time Doctor Strange, he didn't do a very good job. I've met one Doctor Strange and they're all probably the same.
Oh, he's warning us about a horrible and impending doom? Well, we're gonna studiously fucking ignore that and do nothing about it while we proceed to berate him and exposit our backstory at him for like 20 minutes. While, you know, death approaches.
One thing I did like is they left Mordo alive. Because I'm hoping that when we do finally have Strange versus Mordo, it's two Mordos.
Like the other Mordo shows up, like, I remembered you. You're gonna get yours.
Yeah. I've always hated this guy. High fives! That would be super fun, I think.
I like that they established in the movie that Mordo didn't just drop out and do nothing. Like, he didn't make his vow about too many sorcerers and then fucking go get a timeshare in California. No, he's been trying to kill Doctor Strange. It just happens in between movies. It's what Doctor Strange is doing when he can't be involved in whatever wacky bullshit Ant-Man's doing this week.
I did like that. There is, you know, we criticize a lot, but there is a lot to enjoy about this movie, too.
Yeah, this movie is a movie of high highs and low lows. It is a perfectly fine movie. I have a lot to bitch about, but I'm aware that a lot of the stuff I'm really mad about is ultimately incredibly unimportant nerd boy rage, and the movie's pretty good.
I am upset about things that were not what I expected, what I built myself up, and what the team built themselves up to look like the movie was going to be. But we have a third opinion of someone we went to the movie with who also thought it was okay and had neither of those influences.
So, like, accounting for bias where we can, this one's pretty middle of the road, y'all.
Yeah, it is okay.
There's a lot to love. There's a lot, if you're me in particular, or another very similar flavor of nerd, to dislike. But ultimately, it ends at about a C.
Thereabouts, yeah. I had fun with it, and the visuals were really nice. Like, the end credits in particular were exactly what I wanted from something like that. So,
grading on a curve, C. It's still in the MCU.
I'm looking forward to where Doctor Strange goes from here. I feel like outside of the Christine shit, they really nailed his character. He was the wizard I wanted him to be in the first film. He's jovial, snarky, helpful, also unhelpful if he feels like it, full of himself, but also humble. Like
arrogant because he kind of can back it up for the most part.
Yeah. But yeah, overall, it was fun. I'm glad... Even if it's a mediocre movie all around, I'm glad it was better than the first one. More strange.
Everything's better when nerds talk about it.